Ever thought you're sometimes going through the motions? Gary and I have both been there. And that's why we created the East West Coaching Podcast.
Welcome to Anna and Gary's East West Coaching.
I'm Anna, and joining me is Gary. We are here to chat about life, love, and everything in between. Whether you're feeling stuck, frustrated, or just looking for a little more spark in your life, we got you covered. Let's dive in.
We've drifted into one that I would like to talk about, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this is mind reading.
Yes, that was my next one.
Oh, was it? Oh, right then. Okay, that's fantastic. Because I think this is one of my favorites. So, for me, is that if I do that, then I know what they would think about me, or I know what they would do. But, oh, hold on a moment. And I had a client a few years ago, and they said something similar to, I know what they think about me. So really, that's a great skill you've got, mind reading. And they went, well, yes, I can, they said. I can, I know exactly what they're thinking.
Yeah.
I said, okay, that's great, that's interesting. Can we just do a little experiment here? And they said, yeah. So what am I thinking about you now?
Mm-hmm.
And they said a few things, and they were absolutely wrong. Of course they were, because they hadn't got a clue what I was thinking.
Yeah. That's so good.
So sometimes we think because occasionally we might be right. We might have a really good guess about what somebody's thinking. And then if we have that belief that we can mind read, and then somebody is positive, affirms that, then we think, oh yes, see, that's true. And we forget all the times we were wrong. So we're then doing the filtering that you talked about at the very beginning. We're filtering out all the times we were wrong and remembering all the times we were right. And this is the opposite problem. We're not filtering out the bad, we're not filtering out the good. This time we're filtering out the mistakes. And that can be, I think that can be a difficult habit to break with people who really believe that they know what other people are going to think or are thinking.
Yeah.
I could tell by the look in their eyes that they thought that I was a jerk. Really? Yes, they raised their eyebrow a little bit. They moved their left shoulder. I knew what they were thinking.
Yeah. So good, so good. And it's good because, well, it's good. It's funny because mind reading, as you mentioned, I think tends always to be on the negative. It's not like, ooh, she's thinking right now that I'm beautiful and then I am so gifted, and it's always like sort of like catastrophizing. And like I read something that mind reading could happen when you tend to ask yourself what if questions. So, oh, what if she's not sending me a message now because she's mad at me? Sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's also assuming or presuming what other people are doing or not doing based on what you feel or you believe. Is like, maybe it's just all in your head and it's like there's nothing there, but you're like, oh my God, she's not writing back to me now because she doesn't care, or I'm not important, or she's mad, or whatever.
Yes, and a good way to get around that, is to say what else could be the case. What might another reason be? So again, a client fairly recently came up with this mind reading, and they said that's why. I said, okay, you could be right. That could be the reason. What else might be a reason? And they stared at me. What? No other reason. That could be the only possible. I said, let's be think right outside of the box. Give me a bizarre reason, another reason why. It's unlikely, but it could be. And they came up with a reason. They said, oh, yeah, it could be. It could be because of that. But that's unlikely. And then they started to come up with lots of other more serious reasons. And then they had a whole load that they could choose from. And they suddenly saw that the one that they chose was because of how they were feeling, rather than about what the real possibilities were.
Mm.
And suddenly they were able to calm down because they were catastrophizing. You know, they went to the worst possible case.
Yeah.
Again, this is another mental distortion, cognitive distortion, but we deal with this.
There's gray areas everywhere. It's not just black or white. So they might get mixed, as well. Yeah, but I think,
yes.
yeah, mind reading is particularly dangerous in relationships, obviously, any kind of relationship, right? Because I don't know, maybe your husband is late and you think, it's like, oh yeah, he's late because he's cheating on me, I don't know, or something like that,
Or he's had a car accident, or he's got drunk again, or he cares more about his work than he does about me. Now, of course, any of those might be true, but it could be equally, there's been a traffic jam.
Yeah.
And he's not been able to give you a call.
Yeah.
Or if he hasn't called you, is it because the battery's run out on his mobile?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I have learned to, instead of mind reading, to actually ask the person. Can I ask you? I don't know. We haven't heard each other for a while. I wanted to know if after our last conversation, maybe you got upset, or is everything okay? That's it. Just ask.
That's so simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the reason why people don't do that is partly because they're scared that their fear will be, it will stop becoming just a fear and a possibility, but it will become a reality. So while I haven't asked the question, did I upset you, or were you upset by our conversation or our argument, or you're not talking to me anymore? While I don't ask the question, there's a possibility of no. As soon as I make it reality and ask the question, I might hear something that I don't want to hear.
But I mean, do you prefer, sorting things out, or do you prefer living in the doubt forever? It's like,
yeah, and the living in the doubt is what causes stress and anxiety, and that causes all sorts of other symptoms. But it has the positive effect is that I don't know for sure. I might be the good guy still. If I really believe they're cheating, I don't know for sure. So I can still have that possibility that they're not.
Yeah, that could be true for couples. But like in friend relationship or relatives, I think is good to find out because you can sort things out. Or maybe, if you don't do anything about it, let's say, you just leave it like that, it could be that you even don't talk to the person for the rest of your life, and it's like it's all based on a fantasy, on a story that you created in your head.
Yeah. So yeah, it means maybe 30 minutes of really difficult conversation where you have to face some truths, but at least it will be over and done with, and you'll have sorted it out, and then you can go on living your life.
Yeah, and it's also, if you ask, it's interesting because but you have proof then, okay, I was completely wrong thinking about this. So it's in my head, it's in my feelings, and it's not the reality,
Yes.
So it's also a good way of becoming more aware of yourself.
Yes. And the more that you do that, again, like we said, the more you do any of these things, the more you can build up a more realistic, useful picture of the world. rather than one that's just in your head. And that, while it's in our head, it's fantasy. Until we ask the questions, until we get answers, we are creating a story rather than knowing the truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Linked to mind reading, which is what I think we were talking about, it is fortune telling. I know what will happen. If I do this, then this will be the consequence, this, and this, and this, and then everything will be terrible. Wow. If anyone listening to this can mind read, please contact me, because I want to know the numbers on the next lottery, because I could really do with the money. I've got so many uses for it.
Definitely, definitely. Yes, contact us. We are here, available to write the numbers
our
down.
addresses are below.
So, Gary, we're coming up to the end, and
oh my word,
we said we're gonna share our most, common for us cognitive distortion. You want to start? Hey everyone, before we get back to our chat, I wanted to give you a quick shout out to where you can find us, as well as more resources and articles. You can find out more about Gary at www.thinkwellnow.net, and you can find me on LinkedIn under my name, Anna Amoroso. We will include all the links in the video description below. Please consider liking and subscribing to this channel to help us in reaching more people who might value this type of content, and click the bell to get news of our latest podcast. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
No. Because you told me this is what we were going to do at the beginning of this, and I didn't know.
Surprise. So
I need to have a moment or two to think about it. I shared earlier one of the things that I used to do was the filtering and disqualifying the positive. I certainly used to do that. What do I do mostly now? I'm just having a quick look at of the list of that I made in front of me here. I think maybe, although it's one that I constantly tell people about, maybe I do it because it's one that I fall into, or I can fall into, are should statements. I should do this, or I should have done that. I must do this, or I have to do that, and they're problematic. So when I use them about the past, I should have done that. Well, why should I have done it? Who said I should have done it that way? Well, it might have been better had I done it a different way. That's okay. It might have been better had I done it that way. It might have had a different consequence or a different outcome. But actually, any decision I've made, I've done it with the best intention at the time. I've done it with the knowledge that I had at the time, which is never full knowledge, but it's it's the resources I had in front of me. So I should have done something different. I may have been able to do something different had I had some more information, but I didn't. Or maybe I didn't know myself well enough at the time, or a whole load of other things. But the fact is, it happened. So should have done it. That's not helping me. It's not a useful thing for me to say to myself. Can I learn from that? Oh, absolutely. I can learn from it, but should have done it. And then the other thing is that I have to do something. Again, who says that I have to? I have to go to work? No, I don't. I don't have to go to work. I choose to go to work, and I choose to go to work because I want to get money in order that I can do a whole load of other things. I want to be able to buy food. I want to go on holidays. I want to do whatever it is I want to do. Do I have to do it? No. I could, if I want, live in a tent or out in the open air and without a tent. I could do that. Nobody's making me go to work. And as soon as I give myself a choice, that actually frees me. because have to means somebody is dictating from above. That means I have no control. If it's not me controlling my life, who is controlling it? I take responsibility. I choose to say the things that I say. I choose to, whatever it is. There's no have tos. It could be that I want something. I want to do something. And in order to get that, then there are steps that would be useful to take. And so if I say I have to do that, it means with my objective that I have set, nobody else is telling me what I have to achieve. I want to achieve something, then these are steps necessary. So if I say these are steps necessary, that means I have to do that. But that's a different kind of use of the word have to. Gosh, that's become a bit more detailed than I wanted it to be. But they're the traps that I fall into. They're the traps that I fall into, the shoulds and have tos and musts, and they don't help me. So I find that I need to correct myself, or occasionally my wife says, have to, Gary? You should do it, really? And that's when I go, yeah, you're just saying what I say, aren't you? You say it to me all the time, Gary.
Yeah.
So what about you, Anna?
Well, actually, I just want to say something. The shoulds usually are judgments about ourselves, right? What we should do. And have to is like expectations. Who's doing that? That like button. It's not me. It's going crazy here. Yay! Thank you for the like. So
I liked myself. That's really affirming, Anna. Well done, you.
Oh, anyone could have done. But anyway, yeah. So have to. Yeah, it's like I have to. It's like it's an expectation. I have to. It's like I have no way out of that. But if you try and change maybe that language and say, I get to, I will, I choose, as you said before, it's much more empowering because I get to, do my work today. Or, yeah, I will do this thing instead of, I have to do this thing.
Well, yeah, so, I have to look after the kids today. No, you get to look after the kids. And it changes the whole feel about what you're doing.
It's much more empowering. It's more like, oh, I get to. It's like, it's an honor. It's a good thing. It's like, I am alive. I get to do this thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great. So, do you want to know what mine is still nowadays?
Yeah, I do. You put me on the spot.
Yeah, mine is still a bit better than before, is discounting the positive as well. Like when when someone tells me, oh, that was great, or yeah, that was good, or and like, yeah, okay. Maybe it's just been nice, or it's just been kind, polite, whatever. It's mine.
Yeah, and I think it's important as well when we give compliments. This is just a slight tangent. If we give somebody a compliment or we say something positive about somebody, is actually really mean it. Don't say something positive, even to your kids, unless you really mean it.
Yeah.
Make it specific and make it real.
Yes, I love that. True. Yeah, true. Because sometimes you think, it's sort of like when you receive a compliment or something, you're doubting that person, right? You're doubting, can I trust them? Are they really honest? Because we must say that there's also people who are, people pleasing, or they don't like to have conflict or whatever. So they might tell you something and they don't think it's true. And so don't say it. Don't say it. Shut up. Don't say anything. you know, just say what you mean.
Absolutely. So, Anna, I think you said we were wrapping up, and that's a really good place to finish. Thank you so much. I really love doing these podcasts with you because you help me to re-energize, because I love talking about these aspects of our coaching and about how we live our life and how to make our lives better and more vital. So yeah, you helped me to do that. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Gary. I really enjoy and love this conversation, and yeah, it's also good because we go back over things and we relearn them and we internalize them more. So I love that. It's been really good and juicy and fun today.
Lovely, thank you so much.
Pull up, I got 5 wishes on a Friday.